modern reporting from the eyes of journalism students. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to welcome all of the participants for joining our event today. Before we start our program, I would like to remind to all new participants to fill out our Google form for registration. Uh, I can officially start. So it, uh, then let us start a session with you from our fellow member Fahmi Aziz.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, we express our gratitude for us to attend student colloquium future of important for the eyes of journalism students hosted by the journalism communication and media studies at UiTM Students. Ya Allah, we humbly ask you for the safety of our religion and the welfare of our body. Ya Allah, Lord of the implementing authority, make the day that we've gone through beginning with your mercy, with your blessings, and the goodness. the days that we have gone through filled with guidance and end with excellence. Ya Allah, Ya Mu'min, Ya Aziz, Ya Jabbar, Allah, that our efforts as we enlighten and convince ourselves that the personality of Inna is the prerequisite and excellence in various fields. Grant us faith and strength in order to face the challenges of life in this new millennium. Ya Allah, Qadi al-Hajat, Ya Allah, show us the way so we do not go astray from the path of the blessed. Purify our hearts so that we may only do good in this brief life and keep us far away from evil deeds into eternal damnation. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin. Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Fahmi, for the dua. Assalamualaikum and to everyone watching. 45th Journalism E-Colloquium, where we are going to discuss the topic of future of modern reporting from the eye of students. But before we begin, the 45th Journalism E-Colloquium would like to announce the event. We greatly appreciate Ministry of Arts and Culture, Yusa Food Products Syndrome Berhad, Alif Designs, and Racepix Media Services for making this event happen. Not to forget, those watching us live through our YouTube channel, do not forget to like and share this event. Bring your friends, the more the merrier. All right, I think it is time to introduce our panelists for today. Joining us is Azib, Zikry, Jemima, and Egista Komunika. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, today, I think it would be great for the members of the audience to know a bit about our panelists. Joining us today is journalism student, also the president of Journalism Society Club, University Technology Mara, Azib Zikry. Hi.
I hope everyone is having a great day today.
Is an international relations student from Taylor's University, Azza. Hello, Azza.
Hi, everyone. Well,
Thank you. And lastly, from our neighboring country, a communication studies student from University Muhammadiyah Malang from Indonesia, Egista. How are you doing today?
hello, I'm fine.
Welcome. I hope you guys had your breakfast this morning. And most important, glad to know that you guys are doing well. So, if you don't mind, today, our topic for today is the future of modern reports from the eyes of journalism students. As we all know, technology is in the forefront of every news, from data-driven journalism to robot assisting on field reporting. So, Jemima, would you mind shedding some light to us on having robots and data-driven journalism fueling our future workplace?
Hi, thank you, Nadhrah, for the very beautiful introduction. So to answer the question, I guess to begin, what I can say is upon familiarizing myself with this topic, of course, I had doubts and I had questions, surrounding the idea of robot journalism and the use of AI overall in the newsroom. I wondered what are the dangers and the implications of utilizing AI in the newsroom on a daily basis. Does it pose a threat to existing human reporters out there? And are we now in a state of being forced to succumb to this transformation of utilizing AI in our reporting and storytelling? It seems a little futuristic at first, but after catching myself up with one reading another, I've caught on a few interesting facts that got me thinking about AI features will continue to. So I read in a book called Tech Giants, Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Journalism by Jason Whittaker. He mentioned that the shift in this whole automation, you big tech giants out there to think more about changing trends that we're seeing right now. He mentioned that artificial intelligence has changed the understanding of consumers about journalism and media. With people's behavior in consumption, it's not the same as we're seeing before. And with this development, we're seeing places the media industry right now. Where these conglomerates have no other options than to invest in developing these AI tools to make maximum profit. And as we know, journalism and writing especially had long, I guess it had long been considered a career field that was basically, shielded from automation. It's not something that you would imagine would be automated because of the creativity that is required and individuality, right? Like, how people see fashion, how people appreciate fashion, for instance, right? So is this. So all in all, what I think we can pick up from this is that AI or automation or algorithmic journalism is here to stay. Technology now, you see, has become a real driving force for the media sector to produce content, digital content, especially in line with the demands of the consumers out there, you and I, as consumers, especially as we undergo persistent economic disruptions and how the community is always looking forward to the advancement of technology, like I said before, to make maximum profit. And I'm sure we know that you guys know that we all live in the age of big data. So there is a never ending flow of information which can be accessed literally anywhere. Everything is at your fingertips. And I believe with that, data-driven journalism is the future, as cliche as it sounds. And that said, it's important for journalists, current journalists, journalists to be like you guys, to be data savvy. And in a time where everything is digitized, we got to take a closer look and really filter out those sources. And the internet has opened up possibilities beyond our current understanding, and it's just the beginning. Data journalism is just the beginning of evolving our past practices and adopt everything online. I'm not going to lie, I love the process of the traditional process of journalism. I don't think it's going we have to bid farewell to it, but these things, instead of seeing it as a threat, journalists can now depend on these features provided by AI, all those heliograph, birdie, and everything, and see it as a way to ease your workload. Automation, what it does, it enables news organizations to expand their coverage by allowing reporters, freeing up their workload to focus more on pressing issues that's going on in your community. And no doubt, it does come with a set of challenges, obviously. And this is what the IR 4.0 thing is all about. By accepting it, enables the human capabilities to be maximized. And data journalism is just one of it. It's a new set of skills for searching and understanding and visualizing digital sources in a time that basic skills from traditional journalism just don't quite suffice. Okay, so but be rooted to the fact that it is not a replacement. It's not a replacement to traditional journalism, but in addition to it, I feel like I'm repeating myself here. It's a complementary tool, because I believe to serve the human interests, you need actual humans to determine and figure it out. Of course, this is just a surface level observation, but alas, we are in a stage where more and more outlets out there are pushed to branch out and begin experimenting with these AI tools. And it's not new. It started since 2015, 2016. And I'm sure you guys have heard how, stuff about Washington Post using AI to update their social media and whatnot. And so this gives us a chance to like sort of gauge and look at these existing trends and see what fits in terms of assisting fellow journalists out there. So yeah, that's my tip. I'm going to pass it back to Nadhrah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Azza, for that input. Before we move on to our next panelist, I would like to remind again to our participants to fill out our Google form that will be in the chat box, and to all to follow our social media at Colloquium45 for any current updates. Moving along, I'll open the floor to our second panelist, Azib Zikry. Let's hear your take on our topic today.
All right, thank you, Nadhrah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to bid my thanks to the organizer for inviting me to this colloquium, along with the amazing speaker. I think Azza and Egista, one from Malaysia and one from our neighborhood countries. It's such a bless to be this morning with you guys, and also the one who's currently watching. And also thank you guys for watching with us, because I think the team chosen for this colloquium right now is very crucial, which is robotization of the newsroom, which is not only crucial, but the need for us as the future media practitioner for to discuss about, because we are the one who is the future of journalism, as we are. I think all of us is currently a student of journalism or a student of media, or who is someone who's gonna step up in the journalism industry one day. And this is the topic that we should discuss about. And thank you, Colloquium, for bringing such a brilliant topic. But talking about robot and data usage in journalism. First, I think I agree with, as I said that just now, technology is everywhere. It is not new. It is taking place in any industry, even us in the journalism industry. Before this, we use like a printed media, we use traditional media, we rely on that heavily. But now, since the past decade, we heavy relying on the social media, and that is one of the form of transitioning into technology. And I believe that technology is always there in creating more effective workflow, not only for us, but for the human being. And that applies also to the journalism industry. Why not we step up from our comfort zone? But in addition to industrial revolution, that has been taken ages ago. We have gone through a revolution in the industrial revolution 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. And in the past decade, we are transitioning to IR 4.0 with the help of artificial intelligence to help the ease of human works. And yes, I think journalism industry is a bit late from transitioning into the AI, because AI has been taking place in the manufacturing and all, and in advertising industry it has been used largely in the US election, whereby they've been used the algorithm and data of humans in addition to help their campaign. And but right now in our journalism industry, it is a change for us, and I believe we as a human and a future practitioner need to adapt with the changes. But when we are talking about journalism industry, I think there's no turning back. We cannot turn back into the old practice of journalism. I think we can still apply the rules of journalism or the principles of journalism, but I believe that the principles of journalism need to be adapted with the current evolution of robot and data journalism, whereby it is time for us to change. Because I believe when we talk about AI, when we talk about robot, we are afraid of something. It will replace our work. Back then, if you watch Doraemon movie back then when we were kids, when we see like robot replace all the human work and robot manipulate our mind, and yeah, I think it is scary for us. But actually, this is the situation that we are facing right now, where the robot is replacing human. But I believe, as I said, it is not replacing but complement the process of journalism work in a whole. Um, but on every circumstances, I believe there's always give and take, and it also applies to data and robotic journalism. And we, as a journalist, we always do a crucial observation to find different angle and whatnot. But in robotic and data journalism, we need to find there's always goods and bads side on every issue. And the way we perceive it now might change our perspective on how journalism industry to hold. But let me give my thoughts first on the downside of data and robotic journalism from my point of view as a student. For me, I think we are not prepared enough in terms of formal education, as we are still holding back to the principle of the journalism that is used long time ago. And I think in terms of the principles of journalism, we need to change and adapt. Because if you're talking about robotic and artificial intelligence, I think we are not still familiar with the essence of the backdoor of the AI, as we are relying heavily on going out to find news, going out to write and all that. But we are not so familiar with the data. And I think that's the downside for us as the journalism student to face in the future or even now. I think there's no need to have a formal education, but we can prepare ourselves informally. We can get the information elsewhere, anywhere, because data is everywhere. As long as the education is always there, and we need to learn. And the second thing of the downside of the data journalism, from my point of view, is really the job opportunity. Because we as a student, we are graduating soon. Same like you guys are the final year of the journalism student. I believe you guys are still worrying. I mean, we are still worrying about our job opportunity. And if it really applies on our industry, maybe my point of view, our job scope might be different from back then and now. Because if back then we are giving an issue or any topic to do a research and to do a write-up and to inform the audience of ours. But maybe in the future of journalism, maybe it might differ, because the algorithm and the data will find what is the best topic to discuss about, and we are not relying much on our research, but the need of AI to do all of that. And it differs from time to time, and I think we need to change and adapt with the technology. But on the good terms, I believe that our journalism industry is moving towards evolution, and actually we are now currently the generation that facing it. It is a challenge, but also an exciting moment, as we are not relying and heavy depending on heavy works. Why I said so? Because I said just now, AI will do it for us. The algorithm, the data is all there, and we are the one who gonna shape and create the journalism industry. I mean, journalism industry is not only for us, but journalism is for everyone. So it's a win-win situation for us. And one of the good things about technology and AI, as everything, like back then in history, the function of AI is to reduce time and increase the effectiveness. And I think we, as the journalism practitioner or a media practitioner, we are racing against time everywhere. Like we are chasing deadlines, we are chasing the most important news, we are chasing the hard news, we are chasing everywhere. We are literally running along with time. But with the help of AI, it will uh, ease our time. With the help of AI, it will going to benefit our time, because we do need not to do a lot of research and whatnot, because the data and the algorithm is all there. And also I believe it is actually a complement to work, because I believe that human touch is needed. And but with the help of AI and data journalism, I think it will increase the flexible time in the newsroom. Why I said so? Because yes, as I said before, I think I might be repetitive, but it is important. But AI is there, and we are just shaping and creating it. So especially with post COVID, there's like no work life balance anymore. But we, as the journalism practitioner, we are racing through time, and with the help of AI and data journalism, I think it will ease our work step by step. I think that's my thoughts on this data analytic journalism. Pass to you, Nadhrah.
All right. Thank you, Azib. That is a very interesting take on our topic. I think it's suffice to say that your point of view also aligns with Azza. So we'll move along to our next panelist. How do you feel, Egista Komunika?
Hello, I'm feeling so good right now. Okay,
I believe you have a slide to present, right? Hold on, I'll ask our technical to present the slides for you.
okay. Okay, thank you so much for your time and the opportunity. Can I start
Egista?
right now?
Sorry, before you start, sorry for the interruption.
Okay.
If it troubles you, we don't mind if you speak in Indonesian also.
Okay.
We both, okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the time and opportunity. Aku sangat berterima kasih untuk semuanya atas waktunya, atas kesempatannya, atas semuanya yang diberikan atas dari Malaysia from apa ya? Thanks a lot. Okay. The future of journalists. I'm very interested in the topic to discuss today, and I'm so happy can speak and share information about future technology. I will tell you about my basic experience as a reporter newspaper campus when using journalist data. Oke, sebelumnya aku adalah reporter dari koran kampus di Indonesia. Aku join di sebagai reporter itu sejak tahun 2018 sampai sekarang. Dan aku sekarang di reporter koran kampus itu menjadi salah satu editorial yang di bawah naungan rektorat atau kepala sekolah. Oke. Ketika aku menggunakan jurnalis data yang basicnya itu enggak terlalu apa ya, menggunakan artificial intelligence juga enggak terlalu strong, enggak terlalu banyak digunakan artificial intelligence, bahkan ketika kita mengolah data itu kita selalu menggunakan wawancara gitu. Wawancara itu sebagai basic dari ketika kita untuk sebelum membuat sebuah berita gitu. Jadi ketika kita nggak melakukan wawancara, kita nggak bisa membuat berita. Istilahnya seperti itu. Bahkan saya menaungi beberapa mahasiswa untuk menulis itu. Karena sebagai jurnalis dan student, kita juga harus proporsional untuk membagi waktu, untuk membagi waktu untuk sekolah, waktu untuk bermain, waktu untuk belajar dan lain-lain. But the future of modern reporting, robotization of the newsroom, what I mean journalist data in primary from not from by number, statistik, kemudian foto, video, and other information, statistic, dan opinion is a journalist data. Okay. Then the data will be used to doing assignment, to make some news. It means to do assignment with searching on the internet. Maybe student will be happy karena dia nggak harus kerja keras untuk mencari ke sana kemari, karena dia nggak harus pergi ke sana kemari untuk mencari secara langsung. Berbeda dengan ketika kita menjadi seorang student dan ketika kita menjadi seorang reporter itu beda. Karena ketika kita menjadi seorang student kita harus mencari data untuk mengerjakan sebuah tugas yang diberikan. Tapi ketika kita menjadi seorang reporter, kita itu harus pergi ke tempat untuk menggali secara langsung gitu. Kita harus mendapatkan data secara langsung dengan tepat dan akurat seperti itu. Nah, however, if the student act as a price campus, then you must to strengthen the data gitu. For example, asking other people, kemudian research and more coverage to make some news. Kemudian jurnalis data is a strength and is a apa ya, complex to make a some news. Untuk my experience jurnalis data, mungkin aku akan sedikit menyinggung gitu ya, karena data itu pasti digunakan untuk semuanya, nggak hanya untuk membuat berita atau to share informasi to others, to mass media, to others. Oke, tapi kalau misalkan kita bicara tentang data, semuanya itu pasti butuh data karena ada sebab dan akibat seperti itu. Kalau tidak ada sebab, kita juga tidak akan menemukan sebuah solusi untuk menjawab sebab itu. Oke, mungkin bisa next for presenting. Robotization era, the process of turning a human being into a robot. Oke, dari manusia, pekerjaan yang sudah dilakukan oleh manusia secara bertahun-tahun gitu ya, dari dulu sampai sekarang, dan sekarang bakal diubah oleh robot, dan sekarang bakal dilakukan oleh robot. Pasti kita juga akan mengalami, aku nggak rela untuk sama ini, karena aku sudah melakukan proses dari dulu sampai sekarang, dan sekarang digantikan, terus apa gunanya aku gitu? Apa yang harus saya lakukan ketika semua digantikan oleh robot gitu? Dan tanpa kita sadari, ternyata robot itu sudah mulai menguasai kita gitu. Mulai dari kita menggunakan handphone, laptop, bahkan kita menggunakan teknologi itu setiap hari gitu. Kita mau tidur, kita mau makan, kita update story dan lain-lain itu it's a teknologi gitu. Itu bagian dari robot yang sudah bergabung dalam kehidupan kita gitu. Oke, next. Nah, ini contoh ketika saya menyimpulkan bahwa dulu saat kita mengetahui informasi dari khalayak publik. Nah, jadi kayak kita dulu dapat informasi berdasarkan like, cahaya, kemudian kita dapat informasi berdasarkan voice or symbol or flag or others and bahkan sudah berganti menjadi sebuah berita yang ditulis dalam sebuah newspaper gitu. Itu adalah salah satu kemajuan dari informasi yang sudah diberikan kepada khalayak umum dengan newspaper. Cuman ketika kita sebelum menerbitkan newspaper, kita tuh harus kayak ada beberapa step untuk mencetak newspaper. Kita harus bikin dulu, kita harus nulis dulu, kita harus ngedit dulu, kita harus menyesuaikan apakah foto sama naskahnya itu sama, kemudian kita baru nge-layout, kita harus ngegrafis dan lain-lain. Berbeda dengan online news, karena kita ketika kita sudah memproses data jurnalis, kemudian kita menulis naskah, kita bisa langsung upload ke media massa gitu. Cuman di sini ada perbedaan antara fakta dan positivity-nya gitu. Karena newspaper itu lebih kredibel daripada online gitu. Karena online kita hanya mengejar waktu, dan sedangkan newspaper kita mengejar konten gitu. Konten yang positif, konten yang benar-benar nyata gitu. Sedangkan kalau kita berubah ke artificial intelligence, yang mana yang melakukan itu adalah robot, jadi kayak gimana nanti bakal ada proses-proses yang sama apa enggak? Online aja udah berkurang banyak gitu. Faktanya berkurang aja, kredibilitasnya juga udah berkurang, apalagi ketika sudah berubah menjadi robot. Bahkan robot itu hanya bisa membaca membaca apa yang sudah kita setting. apa yang sudah menjadi apa namanya template. Jadi dia ketika udah dapet data, dia bakal ngolah dan itu akan seperti itu terus. Nggak ada angle yang berbeda, nggak ada cara yang berbeda karena itu sudah menjadi sebuah apa namanya template itu tadi. Oke, next. Oke, jika robot bisa ngomong nih ya, kalau robot bisa ngomong, dia akan ngomong, we will do everything we can to help you work at your best. Dia akan memberikan semuanya yang dia bisa dengan terbaik gitu. Dengan membantu apa yang kita butuhkan, membantu apa yang kita butuhkan, membantu apa yang kita berikan atau semuanya itu. Robot dapat memproduksi konten, robot dapat terlibat dalam editorial room, kemudian robot dapat join a process journalist, kemudian bahkan to make some information, robot to share some news gitu. Dia bisa wawancara sendiri, dia bisa nulis sendiri tanpa kita nyuruh, tanpa ini jam 10 nanti ada wawancara ya sama presiden misalkan gitu. Kita nggak usah kayak gitu. Cuman si robot itu bakal langsung melakukan doing for apa help kita gitu, apa yang kita butuhkan dia langsung melakukan gitu. Cuman robot itu harus memiliki database yang kuat buat melakukan itu semua gitu. Dalam melakukan aktivitas jurnalistik tentunya ya. Robot itu juga apa ya bisa melakukan evaluasi gitu. Bahkan kita itu pasti kalau misalkan nulis kan banyak yang tipe tuh, banyak yang tipe. Nah, robot tuh enggak, dia bisa ngevaluasi langsung gitu. Bahkan jadi apa yang kita beritakan di media sosial, di media massa, itu bakal minim typo, bahkan tidak ada typo sama sekali gitu. Jadi informasinya juga akan lebih kredibel. Cuman ya itu tadi, template-nya sama terus gitu. Itu yang ada di opini saya, ada di pikiran saya gitu. Nah, bahasa yang ditulis itu sangat baku, benar, dan pokoknya bagus lah gitu. Cuman ketika sebuah berita, some news, product by robot, apakah itu bisa dikatakan sebagai produk jurnalistik juga? Gitu. Nah, bagaimana cara si robot itu memproses datanya, bagaimana dia menganalisis informasi yang dia dapat, kemudian bagaimana dia wawancara dengan narasumbernya. Bahkan robot kan tidak bisa mengetahui emosi yang kita sampaikan saat itu juga gitu. Dia hanya bisa membaca apa yang disampaikan gitu, tapi dia nggak tahu emosi apa yang sebenarnya dirasakan. Apakah dia dengan suka hati memberikan informasi, apakah dia juga marah, nggak suka ketika kita wawancara dan lain itu robot nggak tahu. Gitu. Nah, yang terakhir, apakah robot itu bisa memastikan keakuratan informasi yang didapat? Gitu. Apakah itu benar-benar atau tidak? Gitu. Kalau kita kan bisa merasakan keraguan atas informasi yang kita dapatkan, gitu. Tapi robot hanya bisa mengolah data yang dia dapat. Jadi dia tidak bisa mempertimbangkan antara informasi satu dengan yang lainnya itu sangat kredibel dan berhubungan. Gitu. Nah, oke, next. Oke, nah ini adalah salah satu beberapa unsur dari berita yang harus ada gitu. Berdasarkan pengalamanku, kalau semisal aku mau nulis berita, aku itu harus ada 3 news value yang ditaruh di dalam naskah berita itu. Nah, kalau semisal tidak ada news value dalam berita itu kurang kredibel, kurang cocok untuk dipublikasikan ke media massa. Jadi kita harus memilih salah satu dari magnitude, significance, timeless, proximity, prominence, impact, conflict, human interest, dan unusualness, and sex. Bahkan ketika kita memberitakan sebuah berita tentang seks, itu pasti banyak orang yang interest gitu. Banyak orang yang lebih tertarik dengan pembahasan seperti itu. Bahkan kalau semisal robot yang bikin, apakah unsur human interest itu bakal masih ada gitu. Bahkan human interest itu pasti yang menjadi salah satu news value yang paling strong for me gitu. Oke, next. Nah, ini ada beberapa data yang harus ada dalam naskah atau berita, termasuk dari interview, statistik, being process and aksi gitu ya. Dari proses mendapatkan sebuah data gitu. Ada interview, ada seorang reporter, ada seorang fotografer, ada seorang editor, ada seorang grafis, ada orang yang menuturkan opininya, ada orang yang sedang interview, kemudian ada title, ada lead, kemudian body, ada data journalist, and semua itu pasti ada di editorial room gitu ya. Jadi kalau semisal robot hanya melakukan mencari data, kemudian dia menganalisis data, kemudian dia make some news, itu menurutku kurang gitu. Karena dia nggak melewati proses yang kita lakukan gitu. Untuk membuat sebuah title yang menarik, untuk membuat body dengan beberapa angle berita yang menarik. Bahkan ketika saat kita melakukan wawancara atau liputan sekali, manusia itu bisa membuat lebih dari satu berita. Dan aku nggak tahu apakah robot juga bisa atau bagaimana. Tapi aku belum merasakan itu semua. Tapi aku juga udah membayangkan bahwa robot bisa gitu. Cuman I don't know. Oke. Ketika udah ketika bantu sama robot, apakah kita juga bisa produktif di era itu gitu? Apakah manusia juga dibutuhkan gitu? Apakah manusia juga berperan aktif, berperan produktif, berperan semuanya dalam membuat data atau bahkan hanya sekedar untuk membagikan informasi? Apakah kita setiap harinya hanya membuat story in WhatsApp atau story in Instagram to informasi to others about activity, the day activity-nya. Oke. Apakah ini sebuah PR atau apa ya, yang harus kita pikirkan untuk menjadi produktif gitu. Oke, next. Nah, hal yang positif atau positivity-nya ketika ada robot, waktu kita menjadi lebih banyak, energi kita juga lebih banyak, kemudian pikiran kita juga lebih terstruktur karena bantuan dari si robot itu tadi. Cuman sisi negatifnya itu pasti juga ada kalau aku lihat ya. Oke, next. Nah, orang banyak tidur gitu karena nggak ada aktivitas yang dilakukan gitu. Sleep over, terus lazy, terus less productive, the output product not optimal, bahkan lapangan pekerjaan itu bakal berkurang karena semua itu diakuisisi oleh si robot gitu, dan many others gitu. Oke, next. Nah, intinya apa yang terfikirkan oleh aku sebagai opiniku, seseorang itu nggak boleh berganti atau nggak boleh kalah dari robot gitu. Manusia itu juga harus berperan dalam to effective communication, to productive communication, to share information, dan manusia itu benar-benar harus terlibat dalam itu semua, terlibat dalam proses jurnalistik, terlibat dalam editorial room, terlibat atas semuanya. Also, robot to help human work, it's okay, but don't let robot to rule the world. Jangan sampai robot itu menguasai dunia, karena kita bakal merasakan sisi negatif karena kita aku nggak berguna lagi gitu, dan itu nggak lucu ketika manusia udah nggak berguna, bahkan robot itu yang bikin manusia gitu. Kenapa malah robot yang mengakui sisi gitu? Because only human have emotion, feeling, reason, bahkan to thinking our future. Jadi don't let human to us a robot gitu. My opinion about replacing human in the newsroom, yes, aku percaya gitu bakal tergantikan oleh robot, oleh teknologi tentang artificial intelligence itu tadi. Yes, I have to maybe next 10 until 20 years ago, human will look like crazy people because they have to interact with robot, eating with robot, sleep with robot, working with robot. Everything is done with robot. Like cartoon SpongeBob. In Malaysia, there is cartoon SpongeBob, Plankton, and their wife. Dia bakal makan makanan digital. Dia bakal melakukan sebuah experience tanpa berinteraksi dengan orang lain, gitu. This is a sad thing, but job will replaced by robot. So they will run out and disappear. So human must continue to play a role in perfecting the result have been made by a robot. The time at kita harus menambahkan bumbu-bumbu manis ketika kita mau masak kan juga kita harus menambahkan. Jadi kita harus terlibat dalam proses itu semua. Jadi untuk menemukan tema yang bakal kita bahas, menentukan siapa narasumber yang tepat, membuat some schedule to planning, coverage atau planning other second schedule, kemudian menulis dan deadline kita harus terlibat. Meskipun yang eksekusi robot tapi kita planning untuk semua. Okay, next. No, next, last presentation. Oh, can.
Itu slide yang terakhirnya,
Okay.
Egista.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
terima kasih ya Egista untuk presentationnya.
Okay.
Selepas apa yang dikupas Egista, in personal opinion, Egista lagi prefer traditional or tech-savvy journalism? Dan kenapa? This is also open to other panelists.
Okay. Kenapa aku lebih prefer ke traditional news? Karena apa yang aku lakukan sekarang itu sebagai itu gitu. Aku masih menggunakan media cetak untuk memberitakan sebuah informasi. Bahkan media cetak ini menjadi public relation gitu, sebagai media yang mendukung. Ketika semua orang udah beralih ke online media, tapi kita udah masih mempertahankan itu semua gitu. Karena prosesnya yang lebih bagus, prosesnya yang lebih dapat dipercaya, prosesnya melalui beberapa tahapan gitu kan. Cuman kita juga udah berubah ke online media, cuman kita masih mempertahankan di media massa itu kan. Karena aku sebagai public relation dari kampus, jadi aku harus tetap bertahankan itu semua. Karena nggak semua universitas di Indonesia atau dimanapun itu berada, mereka masih menggunakan itu, produk yang ada produknya, yang ada wujudnya, yang ada fisiknya. Oke.
Okay, makasih Egista. Azib or Azza, would you guys like to elaborate?
Biar saya pula. Kalau tadi saya berbahasa Inggeris, saya nak berbahasa Melayu juga. Saya nak satu solidarity buat saudari Egista. Okay. Tipulah kalau kita tidak cakap sebagai generasi Z untuk tidak rely ataupun tidak bergantung kepada penggunaan teknologi. Itu adalah satu penipuan sebab kita adalah manusia ataupun satu generasi yang sekarang ini sedang menggunakan teknologi dari apa jua sudut. Daripada kita bangun tidur sehingga kita tidur, semuanya bergantung kepada teknologi, social media, mass media dan sebagainya. Bagi saya ia ada, macam saya kata tadi, ada perkara baik dan buruknya. Tapi jikalau saya lebih memikirkan ataupun lebih cenderung untuk memilih journalism yang lebih ke arah teknologi. Kerana bagi saya teknologi ini adalah satu perkara yang sentiasa berevolusi dan tidak lapuk di zaman, kerana ia adalah satu perubahan dari satu semasa ke satu masa. Memang kita masih memerlukan traditional media kerana itu adalah asas di mana akar kita ataupun traditional media adalah akar kita dan kita perlu mematuhi prinsip-prinsip yang kita telah guna pakai dalam traditional media. Tetapi kita perlu tidak duduk di bawah katak di bawah tempurung kerana kita kena sentiasa berevolusi untuk zaman. Sama juga seperti dunia kewartawanan. Jikalau itulah perubahan yang diminta, kita perlu untuk sedia dengan apa jua cabaran. Itu bagi saya.
Saya pula ya. So thank you Azib, Nadhrah and Egista. So I think it's a just the interesting the discussion just got more interesting as we go. And yeah, so I think it's also a little tricky to address this area of discussion. But for me, I agree with Azib. Di mana kita, there is a need for us, especially as the new generation, future journalists out there, to adapt to the new ways of practicing journalism. And I think now that we are so advanced technologically, and there's more to come. It's not, it's not going to stop here. I think we have to come with peace with the fact that, there's more to come. Like how, iPhone started with just an iPhone with like one digit. Now it's like what, 12, 13, 14, and there's more to go. So in a few decades time, brilliant minds are going to um, go out there and promote something, a new software for us to use to ease our day-to-day tasks. And this is news value can always be integrated into with side to side with AI. Jadi I guess the fact that we are so advanced again makes it so much easier, because now people, we have options untuk to be at the center of whether or not we want to apply values of traditional journalism, or the modern ways of practicing journalism. I think we are at a point, at a place of advantage right now, because people are so much smarter into seeing what fits us, what software fits, analyze data to filter out the good and the bad, to see what's fake and what's real. And I guess kalau traditional journalism pun, these things are necessary because we live in a very fast-paced, era. Jadi, speed is key. Speed is crucial, and some people, analog photography, for example, people like to, defend the fact that, oh, film is not dead, soft news is not dead. They're not dead. They're dead. They're there. You're open to subscribe to it, but we have to be aware that, keep in mind that that speed is crucial, and that people want fast news, macam fast, then and there juga. That's why social media, these big tech people are, trying so hard to accommodate to our needs. We want the live scores. We want the latest voting results and whatnot. So I mean, you can't tell me that you don't want to know the latest voting results. You don't want to know the latest bola punya scores, right? So yeah, but again, what I'm trying to point out is we have options, so let's make use of that. So yeah, back to you, Nadhrah.
All right. I would like to say thank you to all of our panelists for their respective input. I would just like to summarize our first round before we move along to the second round key question. So from what I can tell, each of our panelists has their own views in terms of pros and cons of jumping into the AI technology. Like Egista said, traditional journalism has been here all along. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's more confusing to jump into something relatively new. But then again, as Azib and Azza has pointed out, technology has been around way too long since before we introduced AI in the journalism industry. So before I think that would summarize our first round. And again, I would like to remind all the ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to have any questions for our panelists, feel free to ask them in our chat box, and don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right. If you guys have nothing else to add, is it okay if I move to the second round? All right. Okay. Now moving on. We'll start with our panelists, Azza, Jemima. I think some argue that with the coming technology to the newsrooms robot, they think that robot may replace journalists. But from where we see now, the human touch is still needed in the industry. So what's your take on that?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question. Um, right. So I'm still at a place where I'm a centrist. I'm sure many are aware of the negative, challenges, perhaps not negative, but the challenges that exist in adopting AI, with having AI to intervene in our day-to-day tasks. And one pretty crucial factor from it is the loss of editorial identity, the loss of value, the creative, individualistic touch. I'm sure some would wonder, what if in a few years or a few decades AI is able to, when AI is able to capture and emulate even the human touch in writing stories, where will our hardworking, literary minded journalists end up? Where would they belong? But I don't think that is something that we should be concerned with right now, because there are plenty of studies out there that suggests that AI technologies is still in its very early stages of development. It's not, therefore it's not worthy of making the whole journalism field automated. People, the limitations right now that we can see is the lack of human angles when applying AI, lack of sensitivity, ethical issues, ethical dilemmas, and of course, problems in understanding the news behind the scenes. So again, this is when human touch is needed. That our experiences really shape us. Our experiences as practitioners will really shape how we want the stories to be narrated. But that's not to say that AI is not relevant. Of course, it's relevant. But back to my initial point from the first round is that wait, what was my first point again? My first point was that uh, um, human journalists are not going anywhere. I don't think. We again, we have options. Tech is not going anywhere. Like as it pointed out, we can't turn back. Back in the days. Perhaps we can, but that's not what the mass population will follow suit with, because again, speed is key, speed is crucial, like it or not. We do live in a fast-paced era, but at the same time, human touch is required in order to, for us to easily better navigate the situations in our communities, because we live in a community where there are so many things going on, one viral video after another, and this needs to be addressed accordingly, appropriately, by those who are, who are well aware of the situation. And what AI can do is provide us with the assistance, with the guidance to ease our workload in the newsroom, to filter out data, to provide graphics and whatnot in times of urgency. So that's something that we can utilize at this point of time. But be rooted to the fact that these advancements will continue, So I'm not like anti-robots or whatever, but it's important to also know that we have to live, we have to work hand in hand with these advancements, because people are not going to stop. Back then, we didn't even think, that telephones would allow us to communicate with one person to the other. We didn't think that two cups would allow us to hear from the other side of the room. But now things have worked, things work this way out, and we're still here. Humans are still here, still relevant, still speaking, providing inputs and whatnot. So, at the end of the day, there we will be able to work things out. And like I said, I like to point out the fact again that we have options. Um, we um, we live in an ethical society where we value creativity, we value individuality. Journalism is one of the fields that a lot of people rely on towards to, you know, obviously um, retrieve the latest news, the latest inputs and whatnot. So there's always something to look forward to, lah, basically. So yeah, with that said, I'm giving my point of view in a very constructive manner. I don't think we should speak on it in a radical sense or in a very like in a different kind of lens, because for years this is the norm, you know, that we have always looked forward to advancements. So we're always looking forward to the next iPhone. What's new? You know, what's the new feature? So same with this, same with AI. It's time for our journalists to be data savvy and slowly introduce ourselves to what AI is capable of, and dive into what can it do to assist us in our day-to-day tasks. So I hope that would suffice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jemima, for that enlightenment. We'll pass next to Azib Zikry. The floor is yours to express your opinion. Do you think if we were to open to AI journalism in our industry, what is your take on the human touch?
Thank you again, Nadhrah. I think this is a very interesting question because it's a very interesting and also sentimental. I think because journalism industry as a whole have been relying on a human communication all way long. I mean, we do a news, we write a news. It's all for human, and we do news. We ask human, and it is for human. But we are talking about robots, like it suddenly appear in the middle of the process. I think somehow journalism industry will change soon. Like as I said, maybe not now because they are still adapting. I mean, because as we are in Malaysia, I truly believe that we are a bit late in adapting AI, especially in the journalism industry. But it will be there, and there's no turning back, and we are going to face it. But on my previous point, I have said that on how efficient and less time consuming it will be if AI, robot, data journalism will take part in the process of journalism. And it will not only simplify and consume less time for us, but also for the consumer, for the readers to read our news, as we are going to a very fast-paced information transforming data, exchanging data information. It's very fast. I mean, like as I said in the previous point, and also Egista, like we as a human, we want a really fast news. We want what score does Malaysia score yesterday in a very in a second, in a split second. We want to know the voting poll. We want to know the latest gossip. We want to know who is that, who is important figure, who is that we need to know. And it is really fast. And if you wait for traditional media, it will be really late. I mean, it will be late, it will be the next day, which is the next day, the story is already old for us right now. But with data and AI journalism, it will reduce and simplify our work with fact checking, algorithm of interest, and all. And from my opinion, yes, our job scope may be a little or maybe reduced, and it will huge disappointment to the newsroom. However, like I said in my first point, story or journalism is there and made for human, and they do not work like us. They do not have brain that God have given to us to I mean, a brain is a complex organ, which is it really changed on how the world perceive it, and robot does not have that. Yes, we have AI, which has been said the robot of the brain of the technology, but humans and robots' brains works different. My take on journalism part, which does it may replace human? For me, yes, it may replace human. But my first point, journalists' work maybe not only focusing on go out to find news, go out to find our primary source to interview and whatnot, but we can monitor the system of AI. I mean, if journalists back then like go out to find news only, which relies on the social skills, but now maybe we need to adapt with our technical skills also, because right now we are also technical skills, right? We are going to social media, we are going to search, oh, how much do my news get interacted and whatnot, and that is like just a little bit of a technical issue, a technical part that we need to discover. But in the future, maybe we are the one who going to develop the system of AI for journalism. Maybe we are the technician of the robot. I mean, we are the journalism, and we need to really rely on the robot and data journalism, and we are the one who is having the backdoor of that. I mean, that is the first point. The second point is on editorial part of the newsroom. I mean, editorial part is really, really crucial. I mean, who is the one who's going to release the news now or then? Who is going to have the nose of having a hard news, which is more important and whatnot? And I believe that robot does not have that. I mean, yes, they can have the algorithm to check and whatnot. But as I said before, the stories made for human and only human know what human needs, and robot does not have that feeling. But I think the editorial part of the newsroom is still crucial, and in gatekeeping what news should be go out. And in addition with ethical, with as I said just now, and we are living in ethical, we live in a way of law. We conduct, the law is there for us, and human are heavily relying on law and ethics, and human is there for us. I mean, in gatekeeping, editorial is still needed. That's my second point. And my last point, I really interested when Egista shared the slide of news value, which is my take on human interest. It's a very sentimental. I mean, it's a very crucial also because robot does not have human values. I mean, human is made for human. News is for human, and only humans know what humans want. I mean, especially we as a journalism or maybe social communication student, we are heavily relying on communication and social work and social. I mean, in the journalism world, if it really is journalist data or robotic or AI will take part on our journalistic process, but humans still want a very sad, intrigue, exciting, or even scary news. And that's emotion. Humans' emotion are really complex, as well as AI is complex. I mean, humans' emotion are really complex. If you take on any relationship, yes, humans' relationship, humans' emotion is really complex. Same applies to the journalism world, whereby we still need the human touch. We still need to write the news for the human to read and get the emotion as what we see. And that's my take on, does robots may replace journalists? Yes, in some point, but the human touch is still needed. Pass to you, Nadhrah.
Wow, that is very interesting, Azib Zikry. So, Egista, what do you think about that?
Oke. Di sini kita nggak bisa apa ya, mempertahankan apa yang harus kita lakukan gitu ya. Bahkan kita itu juga harus melakukan pergerakan juga gitu. Zamannya untuk ini kita juga harus ikut. Kalau kita bakal berhenti di situ saja, kita bakal ketinggalan gitu. Bahkan kita juga nggak bisa apa-apa juga gitu. Kita juga harus benar-benar mengikuti apa yang sudah harus dijalani gitu. Hidup itu berjalan terus, nggak akan pernah berhenti. Waktu juga terus berputar. Jadi teknologi, adanya robot dan lain-lain itu pasti ada, benar-benar pasti ada, kemungkinan besar. Dan aku yakin challenges when trying to use a data journalist, the amount of data on the internet is make me confusing mungkin ya. Many others data, mana yang bakal kita pilih, mana yang kredibel, mana yang sebenarnya itu hoax dan lain-lain, itu pasti bikin kita pusing. Karena kita membedakan hoax sama enggak itu pasti beda tipis gitu. Bahkan seorang ini kan dengan bantuan robot artificial intelligence itu pasti bakal mirip gitu, bahkan sama gitu. Nah, not mention the way of conveying in the different step to be really smart to choosing by search gitu. The data if differs can be the form of purpose studio to make a strong use, kemudian statistics on people opinions, but it will be more powerful the data are realized by experience or research gitu. Okay. What if had a journalist robot that push into the world of work gitu. Dan aku bakal merasa bahagia ketika robot itu bakal membantu semua pekerjaan yang aku lakukan. Karena untuk memanage time itu kayak susah banget. Nanti jam 10 waktunya ini, jam 11 waktunya ini. Bahkan kita lupa buat makan itu lupa, buat ini itu lupa, bahkan semuanya itu bahkan kita tuh lupa gitu. Jadi aku bakal sangat happy karena because I will be helped gitu. Robot said, aku bakal membantu apa yang kamu butuhkan gitu. Robot term of time, physically and mentally sangat berdampak pada aku banget gitu kalau misal aku bakal dibantu oleh robot. Bahkan kemana-mana sekarang kan aku sendiri gitu, nggak ada ya temennya, ngapa-ngapain sendiri. Jadi kalau ada robot, bahagia sekali gitu kan ya. Oke, by using a robot, I just need to manage time, be more structure, predict and design what content will be create to be structured juga. Kemudian because the execution itu robot, bukan aku lagi gitu. And here I will only act on editor, so that the script ketika skripnya udah selesai, robot do not defeat gitu. According to the plan can be said to be a journalist product. Karena aku udah berperan lagi menjadi editor meskipun yang mengeksekusi itu si robot gitu. Okay, thank you.
Okay, makasih ya Egista.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of our panelists have given very, very interesting input on the question. I would just like to ask like a bonus question, if you guys don't mind. If AI was introduced and human touch is no longer needed in the industry, or if it wasn't, would you guys still continue to be in the media industry or not?
Okay, saya rasa biar saya cuba untuk bagi opinion ataupun pandangan saya mengenai soalan Nadhrah sebentar tadi. Ini sebenarnya berkait rapat dengan adakah dunia kewartawanan ataupun adakah dunia media masih relevan. Bagi saya, dunia kewartawanan kekal akan sentiasa relevan. Jadi saya rasa sebagai bakal wartawan yang melangkah ke dunia media ini, kita tidak akan berganjak. Sama saja seperti kawan-kawan yang lain, kita perlu masih teruskan the prinsip ataupun mengapa kita masuk ke dunia kewartawanan ini. Kerana kita mahu memberikan fakta dan informasi yang telus, yang cepat, yang benar kepada masyarakat di luar sana. Dan nilai itu masihlah perlu dipegang oleh kesemua daripada kita. Kita tidak boleh terlalu cepat melatah dengan situasi yang sentiasa menghimpit kita. Tetapi dalam dunia kewartawanan, perlulah sedar bahawa kita di sini tugas ni adalah satu tugas yang mulia ataupun tugas yang dipuji kerana kita ingin membantu mereka mengetahui tentang isu-isu semasa yang mereka tidak tahu pun. Jadi perkongsian maklumat, perkongsian ilmu itu sentiasa akan berlaku sama sahaja seperti dunia kewartawanan. meskipun robot dan data menghimpit kita, kita tidak akan ke mana-mana, kita akan menjadi teguh di dalam dunia kewarganegaraan. Itu bagi saya.
Setuju dengan Azib. I think I don't think there is a possibility, despite the advancement and yada 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 that we talked about. I don't think humans are going to go anywhere. We might have the best softwares produced in the next 10, 20, 30 years, but what will determine, you know, what are the interests of us humans? What is the community concerned about? What's politically correct and politically incorrect? Everything will be decided by us humans. So we need, I think it's best to see that the advancement of AI tool set to assist us in improving efficiency, in improving productivity, to add more to our creativity. Yes, so that's, I guess that's how we have to circle back to the basic principles, the basic ideas of journalism in the first place. So it's a weapon for society to challenge the things that are going on out there, power, corruption. It's a weapon for us to uphold the importance of democracy. The fact that we live in a democracy today is thanks to our voices, is thanks to our narrative and our take towards current issues, current affairs. So yes, and I think that is something the robot nation aren't able to emulate from us. So that's how that's how we value ourselves as media practitioners. Yeah. What about you, Egista?
Okay. Can I speak right now? Okay. How to use journalism without without losing basic values of journalism gitu. Truth of fact, news value, or even because kebiasaan orang Indonesia itu masih kayak berpatok pada masa lalu gitu. Pas bangun tidur pagi kita itu langsung kayak baca koran gitu kan. Terus habis itu kita masih kayak olahraga terus dan lain-lain gitu. Bukan yang kayak ketika kita bangun tidur kemudian cek handphone, kemudian kita melakukan aktivitas di work from home gitu kan ya. Dan lain itu mereka masih sulit untuk beradaptasi gitu. Karena apa yang kita lakukan itu benar-benar kayak sulit nih. Karena mungkin kalau misalkan nggak ada pandemi nih ya, kebiasaan orang di Indonesia, khususnya kayak di desa-desa seperti itu ya, itu pasti bakal bakal sulit buat beradaptasi karena sebuah event, kemudian culture, kemudian apa namanya, apa yang dilakukan itu berbeda dari sebelumnya. Soalnya kebanyakan sepengetahuan saya, orang-orang di Indonesia itu emang kayak bener-bener melakukan doing something by experience, not by technology gitu. Bahkan sebenarnya kalau misalnya dia tahu apa teknologi sebenarnya sesungguhnya, dia itu bakal kecanduan juga gitu. Tapi dia sulitnya dia nggak mau berkembang dulu gitu. Nah, so ya mungkin benar apa yang dia katakan sama Azza sama Azib, itu benar-benar akan terjadi sometimes. Tapi kita nggak bisa tahu dan kita nggak bisa memprediksi. Kita hanya bisa melakukan dan mengamati.
All right. Thank you to all of our panelists for your input. I think Okay, so I would like to remind again, ladies and gentlemen, to fill out our Google form. And I would say that again, thank you to all our panelists for their enlightenment. We really appreciate it. And I will just quickly brief the second round. I believe that all panelists and also journalists in this era agree that we can't really stay in our current traditional journalism. We also can't fully immerse ourselves in the new technology. So with that being said, I think we all can agree that both the traditional way and also the tech savvy way can work hand in hand in making journalism better and more modernized, as we all would say. All right. I think that sums up our second round. Ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the end of our sharing and rather fruitful session with all three of our panelists. Please like to say any last words for our team of the day that they like to share to the audience. All right. I'll take it as we'll move on to the Q&A session. All right. I'm sorry, I think that there was a technical difficulty just now. What I was saying just now is that before we open the floor for a Q&A session from the chat box from our audience, does any of our panelists would like to share any last word regarding our topic for today?
Saya cuba dulu. Kata-kata terakhir ataupun last words. Bagi saya, tujuan mengapa topik hari ini dibincangkan adalah mengenai kerelevanan dunia kewartawanan. Dan di Malaysia sendiri, beberapa tahun lalu, kuat angin itu terbang mengatakan dunia kewartawanan sudah mati bila penutupan utusan pada tahun 2019. Dan muncul satu isu dan banyak dibahaskan mengenai kerelevanan dunia wartawan. Dan topik hari ini ialah mengapa dunia kewartawanan perlu kekal ada, ialah kerana kita akan sentiasa beradaptasi dan berevolusi dengan teknologi semasa. Ya, kita sudah ada social media di mana semua berita, semua informasi, semua fakta sudah berada di hujung tangan tanpa perlu ada campur tangan daripada wartawan sekalipun. Cuma the reliability of the news is still questioned, and we as a journalism is there to enlighten them and to give them the very most accurate news. Jadi walaupun kita sudah beradaptasi dengan teknologi, dengan perkembangan media masa, dengan perkembangan social media, tetapi dengan bantuan AI dan robot dan data dalam dunia kewartawanan ini adalah satu paradigma ataupun satu anjakan buat dunia kewartawanan untuk bangkit daripada buku yang lama dan kita buka buku yang baru. Dia sama buku, cuma lain chapter, di mana sekarang ini mungkin chapternya adalah sudah berubah. Ini adalah chapter yang sedang kita menuju ke arah yang lebih pantas dan lebih accurate dan lebih memudahkan manusia. Dan kita saya rasa the use of robot and data journalism is still needed in the future, and I think it's the best for the journalism industry.
Yes, I like your analogy about the buku. I rasa, that I don't think journalists and other practitioners out there need to be fearful of robots and what it's capable of, because at the end of the day, it's our doing. And if anything, it's important to adopt and adapt to what's new, what's being offered in the industry, and what you need to do now, what is required of you is to just increase your knowledge regarding what are the set of tools that you need to be familiar with and how to use it on your day-to-day tasks. Back then, people used films to siarkan all the news. But people just, people could just use their phones. Back then they used cameras. Now they can even use their phones, and you still, the message is still being conveyed. You still understand what's going on. So, in other words, it's not something that you should see as a threat. It's not going to lay you off work, but just as a tool to assist you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, the work of journalists will continue to move because maybe it without the help of the mass media. At this time, we will not know information that actually in a part of world. Kita nggak perlu pergi jauh-jauh ke tempat yang terjadi bencana atau apapun itu. Dengan kecanggihan teknologi, smartphone kita udah bisa mengakses apa yang kita perlu tahu gitu. Tentu saja dengan bantuan journalistic, dunia jurnalistik, which a matter of time we already know the information or even that occurred without bothering to go there. Just looking at a smartphone, we can be everything to help the world of journalism. Then, as a communication student, I feel like belajar itu sebagai dari bagian artificial intelligence. Karena tanpa mereka kita tuh nggak bisa research, kita nggak bisa bikin konten, kita nggak bisa bikin apapun itu gitu. Data jurnalis di sini berupa data yang dibikin untuk membuat script, kemudian planning, kemudian konten dan lain-lain itu. Jika artinya dengan data tersebut kita tidak perlu mencari ke sebuah tempat. Kita hanya bisa duduk, mengakses dan kita dapat impact-nya gitu. Ya, pengalaman itu menjadi sebuah sebagai seorang student communication. Jadi data yang dicantumkan itu bakal lebih kuat ketika kita bisa memilih source yang kuat juga gitu. Yang dicantumkan lebih kuat, lebih kredibel dan ketika kita wawancara itu kita nggak hanya sekedar opini penulis gitu. Ketika kita menulis sebuah opini tanpa data itu nggak menjadi hal yang kayak susah gitu. Karena sebab akibat itu harus dijelaskan gitu. Nah, bisa dipertanggungjawabkan kebenarannya dan intinya dapat berguna untuk kita semua.
All right. Thank you for all the panelists' last word to our audiences. To summarize, I would just say, like, in general, I think all of us would agree that, working, like, focusing on traditional way, they have their pros and cons. Working fully on the technology or savvy tech alone has their pros and cons. But if you put two and two together, it would actually, like, be an helping tools to both, I would say both tools. So I think that we all would agree that because we are the generation that are going to be the future, so we have the choice to dictate whether, oh, I want to be using this or I want to be using this. There's no right or wrong, to be honest. If you like traditional media, that's okay. If you want to be a tech savvy, that's also okay. There's always a choice for every individuals because we have our own preferences. All right. So I think we should give our panelists a little break. So I'll open the floor to any audiences or participants if you guys would like to share your opinion on our topic. All right. It looks like we have someone raising their hand. Fuad Nizam.
Right. Hi. Good morning, panelists and fellow audiences. So my name is Muhammad Nizam. So regarding the topic for today, I feel like adding a few opinions of my own. Since we know we're moving forward in the era of globalization and having AI and robots assisting us in reporting. And if I may share a little bit of my experience that I feel is very important is that we crave on instant information on the field. So in that case, I'm agreeing with every one of you guys on whether we should embrace AI and robotics in the future of modern reporting, and maybe quoting the words of Bear Grylls, improvise, adapt, and overcome, whereby we as journalists, future journalists, would we must hold on to those words as we embrace the changes that we see in our future. So maybe that's all a bit of my opinion on the topic for today. Again, thank you all for the journalists, for the panelists, and also those who are present here in the live stream. So thank you, moderator.
All right. Thank you so much for your opinion. Um, Thank you so much. Does anyone from the audience would like to share their opinions also? We'll open the floor to anyone. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's okay. We're here to share our own opinions. All right. Yeah, it looks like there's another participant. Fahmi Aziz.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Fahmi Aziz, the one who recited the prayer earlier this morning. And also I act as the chief publication for the 45th colloquium. I would just like to say welcome again, and also a very warm thank you to all of our panelists, Azib, and also Egista, for this morning's rather fruitful session, I think, on the topic of artificial intelligence, robot change, and so on. I think I'd just like to say that no matter how robot journalism may progress in the future, I believe the need for the human element is still there. It's impossible for robots to have, I don't know, maybe Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos might come up with something in the future, I don't know. But I think it's impossible to leave out the human element in news reporting and so on. So I think it's still a win for humans and robots. We see you there when you cross the bridge if you can have feelings. That's all from me. Thank you, Azib, and also Agista for the fruitful session. And hope to see you all soon in the news, I think. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Fahmi, for your input on our topic for today. It's a bit refreshing to say our audiences giving opinions. Give a little break to our panelists. All right. So again, I'll open the floor for Q&A. Let me just look around in the chat box. All right. I see the first question is from Putri Hazli. This question goes to our beloved Jemima. How do you feel having AI playing a role in the newsroom as a future media practitioner?
Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, let's see. I think after hearing what I said just now, I think I'd welcome it with open arms. I'm definitely, positive that it would be able to help us with improving, efficiency as journalists. As it mentioned something about, us running together with time, and I can, and that's definitely relevant today as we, attempt to address, the current affairs that takes place on a daily basis, and for having to run from one place to another. I'd love to see how these available features, AI features would allow us, would assist us, with these new gadgets and gizmos out there, how I'm able to produce content and stories in an instant and still hold true and hold dear to the values of journalism. So I think everyone else too should see it in a positive light. And if anything, you'll just know more than you do before. So having knowledge about these where you may end up in the media industry. Currently, I think in the broadcasting industry too, people are doing things manually, doing micro content, doing what else are they doing? Um, with the cuts and everything, with the visuals and everything. So wouldn't it be easier to have a device that would simplify all those tasks for you? That doesn't mean they're gonna send you a letter of resignation or whatever, but it would definitely allow you to as a staff or as a worker, it definitely allow you to achieve that work life balance that you crave, and make you a better, more productive practitioner. So yeah, I guess that's my little take on it. Thank you for the question again.
All right, thank you so much, Azza, for answering that question. I think that answers Putri Hazin's question, and we'll move on to the second question from Karunisa. This is specifically to Egista. Do you, as a communication student, feel that it is necessary to learn about AI and data journalism in your studies? Sorry, Egista, can you hear us?
Okay. Okay. That's a problem. My device. Okay. I will answer a question from Veronica. As a communicate student, I feel that happy can be a practice online journalist, newspaper journalist, magazine journalist, kemudian aku juga apapun itu. Jadi learn about artificial intelligence and data journalism in studies is pasti digunakan dan berguna gitu. Can
Alright, makasih buat saudari Egista.
Aku belum selesai karena ada trouble in my device.
Oh, nggak apa-apa. Bisa mula lagi dari
Okay.
atas. Nggak apa-apa.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Jadi seorang mahasiswa komunikasi gitu ya. Jadi mahasiswa komunikasi itu aku bakal kayak berpikir gitu. Gimana sih menciptakan sebuah informasi yang bakal disebarkan untuk semua orang gitu. The world of journalist does not only track about newspaper, design, website, television, even just a reporter gitu. Bahkan semua orang itu bisa menjadi seorang jurnalis gitu. Dengan menyebarkan informasi, kita itu bisa memberikan dampak yang baik untuk semuanya. Tapi dengan menjadi seorang mahasiswa komunikasi, student of communication, kita itu bisa belajar tentang bagaimana step by step-nya, cara yang benar, research yang benar, kemudian planning yang benar, kemudian action yang benar, itu semua kita menjadi lebih tahu. Jadi kita nggak hanya update story, kita nggak hanya share ini, share itu, tapi kita mengetahui apa atas dasar apa untuk memberikan sebuah public information to others. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. A lot of our audiences already saying nggak apa-apa Egista, kami di sini ngerti saja. Okay, we'll see the next question is from Zati. I would like to ask our respective panelists, Azib, Zikry, do you feel that this artificial intelligence can replicate how a human produces a news article?
All right, thank you, Nadhrah, and thank you, Elisa, for the questions. Wow, it's a tough question, but I try my best to give my thoughts and opinions on these things. I mean, as we discussed just now, like a very long discussion that we have just now with what is the needs of AI and data journalism and robotics in the journalism industry. It will simplify all of our works. It will do all the fact checking. It will gather all the algorithm needed for news writing. Yes, I would agree that application can be made by robot or AI in terms of news writing, um, in a sense of writing style, in a sense of in-house style, especially because in-house style is like standardized in every organization, and I believe AI can replicate that. In fact, they can be more accurate in terms of in-house style, in terms of writing style, and as it as you said just now, in terms of language, typing error, AI could not make such a simple mistake. Yes, they can do a replication, but again, I think humans is still needed. Because as I said just now, and I've given my thoughts on this also, in addition of the news value, human interest writing style is still needed because at the end of the day, is a story, is a news is a human interest story, and human is there to add on. Maybe maybe in the future, uh AI and the data journalism will all do like automatically generated news article, but the final check is on human also because it is going to be released and it's not going to like going haywire, like every facts or article that come in that we can just release, because as I said before, editorial is still needed in terms of gatekeeping, and therefore final human touch is still needed in terms of news article. I think that's from my point of view.
All right, thank you so much, Azib. I believe Zati said that answered her question. We'll move along to another question also from Lisa.
Because a human touch is needed, we need to going through ethics, we need to going through morals, we need to go to values, and it all depends on human context. Therefore, I think when we talk about biasness, it is a complex, but it is manageable if robotic and AI it's taken place in our journalism industry.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, so I too, I was looking for some information to address this point yesterday when I was looking at the questions, and I think this is a concern for, as a pretty common concern for a lot of people, but like Azib said, that's when the human touch is necessary to ensure this impartiality, right, in when delivering our news. So uh but again, being whether or not we are politically correct at this point of time, um might not matter in the next 10-20 years. We might be, what we say now might be offensive later on, as the era progresses. So but again, what AI can do is, again, one of the functions is to figure out the algorithm and determine what is popular right now, what is in the now currently, what are humans interested in currently. So that's one of the functions of these AI devices, and they would know whether or not a headline, a single headline, is left leaning, is a leftist or a rightist, a liberal or a conservative type of narrative. So for in currently, humans that is capable of determining what kind of narrative you want to put to show to people out there? Do you want to be, you want to be objective, or you're really you're in solidarity of something, so you want to, so you're biased in that kind of way or in this way. So a lot of when delivering news, I think it's pretty tricky because we too come, with our own set of flaws. We have individuals that we want to protect, and etc., etc. So AI allows you to see what's popular and what's not, what's the mass citizens, the general citizens are aware of and not aware of. So the best we can do, I think AI is capable of ensuring impartiality, but that is something we can do too. Should we, eliminate the flaws, our flaws and our ties with others. So yeah, thank you. Little sing skip, but yeah.
All right. Thank you to Azza and Azib for wrapping up the question. To our panelists, from the chat box, it seems there are a couple more questions. Are you okay to continue, or do you want to wrap up the session? From the chat box, it seems like there are two more questions specifically for Egista. If you're okay, we can continue for the Q&A session. If not, I'll just wrap up the session for today.
Can you repeat, Nadhrah?
Sorry, I was asking, there are a couple more questions in the chat box. Are you okay for us to continue, or do you want to wrap up the session?
Okay, continue to discussion.
All right. So I'll choose one from Nur Muhammad Haika. It's in Malay. Soalan saya buat saudari Egista. Saudari mengatakan bahawa dalam kewartawanan, data pasti ada pros and cons. Lantas begitu juga sisi putih dan hitamnya. Namun soalan saya, selain dihimpit pros and cons, adakah kita sebenarnya bersedia untuk menempuhi revolusi dan kepantasan perubahan ini, atau sekadar inovasi sunyi yang akhirnya tergantung sepi? Gitu.
Okay, thank you Nur Muhammad Haikal and Nadhrah tentunya. Okay, emang benar dunia kewartawanan itu pasti ada pro dan kontra. Karena mungkin beda ya peraturan yang ada di Malaysia dan yang ada di Indonesia beda. Karena kalau di Malaysia kan kepemimpinannya itu lebih ke kerajaan gitu ya. Sedangkan di Indonesia itu lebih ke demokratis gitu. Dari rakyat untuk rakyat gitu. Jadi kalau semisal dalam dunia kewartawanan mungkin di dalam belahan dunia manapun itu pasti sama untuk to information others about actuality, about apapun itu yang berkaitan dengan news, because the world of journalists does not only talk about newspaper, about product journalistic on a studio or journalist robot gitu. Not even just a reporter who carries out information. The difference is that someone to work in journalist. Jadi ketika seorang jurnalis bekerja itu dia harus mengetahui rules. Kalau di Indonesia namanya itu undang-undang pers. Jadi itu udah ada rules yang harus dilakukan. Apa yang harus dilakukan dan apa yang tidak boleh dilakukan. Kalau misal dia melanggar apa yang tidak dilakukan gitu, apa yang seharusnya tidak dilakukan, dia pasti bakal menerima sanksi, menerima sebuah hukuman gitu, entah apapun itu. Soalnya sudah ada peraturan atau rules yang dibuat. Jadi orang-orang itu bisa memilih ketika sebelum menginformasikan sesuatu, kita juga harus mengetahui peraturan yang sudah dibuat gitu. Tujuannya kalau misal di negara demokrasi seperti Indonesia, peraturan itu udah disusun gitu. Cuman even in a democratic country, even depends on the people gitu. State leader will also be more submiss the word of journalists because freedom of opinion is more a priority.
Okay, makasih ya Egista, and to all our panelists. I think that wraps up our Q&A session. Again, I would like to thank our panelists and also to the audience for cooperating during our Q&A session. And ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we have come to the end of our session. Do not forget, as we are approaching to our main event, which is on the 18th of June. I would like to thank our esteemed guests for the enlightenment that they have provided us on today's topic. I would also like to thank all of our sponsor, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Yusa Food Products Sdn Berhad, Alif Designs, and Respix Media Services for their contribution in ensuring that this event goes smoothly as planned. So if you guys maybe turn on your camera right now. Okay. If everyone's ready, in 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, another one. Let's do a freestyle. 3, 2, 1. All right, for the last one, everyone scream Colloquium. All right, 3, 2, 1. Colloquium.
Colloquium.
All right. With the photo session done for today, we have officially arrived at the end of our session. For the participants, don't forget to fill in our Google form and check out our social media at Colloquium45 for upcoming updates on our next session. Thank you and stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
May I been in your arms. Oh, told me not to call you out. Hey, feeling like better now. You, feeling like better now. You. May I